your skin tone is not the ideal type of skin tone. Yeah, you shouldn't be modeling.
So many times we succumb to peer pressure, and because of that peer pressure, now we get involved in the wababas, where we risk our lives, because ultimately when we engage in those things that are destructive, it usually ends up affecting our self-esteem.
Campus students normally use NGL links, not gonna lie links, that you send a message anonymously, and then now there people confess about wababas or what happened.
But if you validated this girl, it will make a very big difference. But that you call for them to be present, to know what is happening, to hang out with them, so that you can actually teach them the right values.
Okay. Why would you buy supper or lunch or breakfast for 100 shillings? Yes. Whereas Piriton is only 5 shillings. So why don't you buy it and just sleep the whole day?
As a society, we may have modeled the wrong values, such that we glorify money or riches at the expense of integrity.
And that's why you find a girl in the university having a relationship or is married in the university, but they feel they've lost their self-worth because of what they are doing behind the scenes, especially we as believers.
A very good evening to you from wherever you are following us from. That is on Hope TV. It is where you look and live, and on Hope FM, that's where you listen and live. Karibu sana to the Overflow show. This is where you live your life in abundance. And of course, tonight we are set for a great time on the Overflow show, because we are having an amazing conversation that you don't want to miss. That is, image of university students, female students for that matter. So you don't want to miss this conversation to the end of it all. Be sure to join in. And if you got any question, any feedback, feel free to share with us on the number scrolling down on the screen. If you missed our previous episodes, please visit our YouTube channel at Hope TV Kenya. You'll be sure to catch the conversations. And tonight, Daktari.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi.
You well?
I'm well.
How's been the week?
The week has been good.
Okay. All right. Maybe you could just do a recap of our previous conversation before we dive into today's conversation.
Yeah, our previous conversation was about Valentine's Day, and we had an amazing show. We were looking at the essence of Valentine and how should we celebrate Valentine.
Yes.
What is the purpose of Valentine? And yeah, it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think before I invite our panelists tonight, to the conversation, maybe what are we having? If you can just maybe break it down for the viewer and the listener.
So today we direct a spotlight on campus life, especially for the ladies.
Okay.
What are the struggles they go through as they try to navigate the storms of life on campus?
All right.
How do they manage it, especially on matters to do with their self-esteem and self-image? We know self-esteem is very, very critical, even in terms of self-efficacy and performance. So we want to see what are the challenges they have with regard to self-image, self-esteem, and what are some of the coping mechanisms that they do? What do they do to navigate through that? And what should they ought to do? Of course, with a reference to the Word of God.
Wow. All right. And we have Nancy in studio. Nancy, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You well?
I'm very well.
All right. It's your first time tonight on set.
Yes.
Or maybe if you could just introduce yourself before we dive into the conversation.
Okay, my name is Nancy Naswa Wajon. I'm a mother of 3 lovely girls. I also work with young ladies in the universities and in the colleges. This is because I act in the capacity of head of missions in Sitam Kitengela. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here.
All right. Thank you so much for creating time. And of course, we have Vanessa. Vanessa, how are you?
I'm fine, thank
How's
you.
the week?
My week has been great.
All right.
I thank God.
Okay. Maybe you could just introduce yourself.
So, I'm a student at Cooperative University of Kenya, pursuing human resource management.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Fanaka, you well?
Yes, I'm well.
Maybe just introduce yourself before we dive into the conversation.
Thank you. I'm Neuron Fanaka. I'm a student at Masai Mara University, pursuing Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and PR. I'm glad to be here today.
Wow. All right, just beginning off with Vanessa, what are some of the challenges maybe you're going through as a student in university when it comes to, self-image and all that?
Some of the challenges I go through, or generally people go through, stress, anxiety. You're caught up in situations where you're not supposed to be in. Body shaming. These are things that will keep on recurring in your life, on and on and on.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. As a female student in university.
Yes. Yes.
All right. No, maybe financial challenges. Don't you experience that? Are you okay?
Yeah. I also experience financial challenges because it's never enough. You just need. Most of us need to go through financial literacy so that they can be able to manage their finances while they're in school or also in other areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean the need for financial literacy is a point to say that most of university students mishandle money.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Maybe Fanaka, to you, maybe some of the challenges you experience as a female student in campus.
I'd speak for myself, some of the challenges I undergo, and generally the challenges that the other girls in campus undergo.
Yes.
Number one is academic pressure. Nobody will really tell you to go to class to study.
Yes.
It's your transcript that will push you to go and study and do what brought you to school. Another thing is social media pressure. A lot of girls in campus right now are on TikTok,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and they really get the pressure from the social media. They want to validate themselves by getting likes, comments, followers, and also there is mental health issues, body shaming, stress, anxiety, like Vanessa has said. Yeah.
All right.
And also financial constraints is a major problem in campus.
So how has it affected you as a person? Those some of these struggles.
But maybe before we go there,
Yes.
there's something we are talking about body shaming. How
Yes.
does it occur?
Okay, so body shaming is something that it's something that gets to you as an individual because when we grow up, there is this aspect of like getting in universities people get into relationships. I'm talking about romantic relationships, like boy girl relationship. So people come up with the type of ladies they want to date. You see, so you'll be there and you're not in that. You're not in his list. Like you don't tick the qualities in his list or in her list. So sometimes even your friends can body shame you because they think that being in this type of body size or having this is something that you're supposed to be having. You see, some gentlemen prefer having thick ladies, as they say thick. Some prefer to have slim, where they say it's petite. So yeah, so sometimes
That someone tells you your body is not okay, or it is you telling yourself
no, they will tell you you're not my type.
because of your body type.
Yes, that's
Body
about
shape.
the body shape, and it's also a type in them. So some of them will prefer. I think it's pressure. I think it's peer pressure because it's nowadays it comes like majority of men they have their own preferences, but I guess some of them don't bring it out in a bad way because everyone has preferences, right? Yeah, but there's a way whereby you bring out your preferences in a way that it will not mess up with someone else.
All right.
Yeah.
And you are talking about abuse. Fanak, how does abuse come in when it comes to maybe your self-image and how you look like?
Actually, this has happened to me personally.
Okay.
I can bear witness. There was a group of men. I was actually going to buy supper. It was around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And there is, I don't know how they call it. It's a place whereby men do sit there and just talk maybe politics, football, and all that.
Base.
So I was, yeah, babe, thank you. So I was passing and then they greeted me. And then looking at them, they started laughing at me. It was so bad. I felt bad. Yeah.
All right. So how does that maybe impact on your self-image? How did it impact how you view yourself as a person?
For once, I thought that I do not matter. But then I realized that what makes sense to me doesn't have to make sense to you.
Okay.
So I just sat down, gathered my thoughts together, and just said, you know what, let it be. It's my life.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Vanessa, have you gone through abuse maybe based on how you look like, or have you seen anyone of your colleagues at school maybe go through abuse because of their image?
Yeah, I've had one encounter on myself, and this was about my skin tone, because I know people have their own preferences, but I got one because of my skin tone. They were like, "You're too dark for me. Your skin tone is not the ideal type of skin tone. Yeah, you shouldn't be modeling." Da 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 da. Yeah, so but I've also seen my friends who have had encounters with even people who they are in relationships with, and they tell them like, you're the ideal type of girl I want to marry.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, we date to marry, right? But they date for fun. That was what the boyfriend was saying. Like they were dating for fun, so that he can, I don't.
All right. I think it's a point to bring you, Nancy, in because we have many people have a different description of a self-image for themselves, and so I really want to know, in your position or to you, how would you describe self-image for most university students, female, of course?
For most students, self-image is how they actually perceive themselves physically. And that is why Vanessa and Fanaka have consistently said about body shaming, because it's something that people see. So how do you see yourself physically, and how do you see yourself even in personality? For example, when I joined campus, on the first day, I came from a background where I never used to put on trousers because they were not acceptable in the home I grew up in.
Okay.
So I learned in the university, and 90% or 95% of the ladies are in trousers. Now you see that can automatically affect my image, because I'm wondering, is there something wrong with me? You feel like you are a bit off,
Yes.
you are not fitting. So in your level of confidence, you can imagine this is day one for a university student. Already peer pressure sets up on you, because you look at the way they are dressing, you meet kina Vanessa there, you uko na ile gidhomo, you look like a church person, kienyeji kabisa, pleated skirts and all that. You're supposed to interact with these people as your classmates. Then in the university, not that this is a period whereby, like in the Kenyan education system, in high school, most schools are either boys and girls. So you get to the university where now you are not only independent, but you are in the same classes, both the men and the ladies. Now definitely, now there starts, you desire as a lady to be attractive to these men. When you desire to get the attention of these men,
Yes.
you start comparing yourself just from your physical appearance. And that's why you find that some ladies now go to some extent of doing things that may actually harm them, because their self-image is affected.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about some of the things maybe ladies are predisposed to as we go on with the conversation. But I'd really want to know, maybe from you, Vanessa, after, you were abused physically, you were abused, your self-image was abused, how did it make you feel? How did you feel about yourself? And how did you deal with it?
Okay, at first, I personally, I have grown up, and I have learned that there is importance in having high self-esteem. So a person like me, it's very hard for you to put me down.
Okay.
Yeah. If you talk about my skin tone, maybe at that point I'll feel like you're being rude to me. I will take it as you being rude to me, not as you body shaming me, because I love my skin tone and I know I'm beautiful in it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've learned to overcome that by taking it that way. Like I just feel like you're just being rude to me, or maybe you're going through something that it's your
So
problem.
it's a problem with yourself.
Yeah, it's a problem with you're the one who is having a problem with me being this way.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't have a problem with being this way because this is how I am, and I'm made in the image of and likeness of God. Yeah.
Wow. And Fanaka, how did it make you feel? The abuse and all that. Did you feel less of a lady?
Okay. I'd really, really want to say that I felt less of a lady, but on the flip side, what impact did it bring to me? And if there is one thing that I've learned in this life is that in any experiences that you find yourself in, just don't group them into positive or negative, because it's just life and it will pass.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. In your position as a dean of students, you've interacted with a number of students here and there. Maybe what in your position do you feel are some of the factors contributing to low self-esteem for most of college and university students?
Yeah.
And for female for that matter?
Yeah. I think I would start by asking Vanessa and Fanaka, and they may not have been exposed to some of those challenges because of their confidence and the strength of their character. What are some of the most significant challenges that the female students go through in our universities today? If we can highlight them from the greatest in order of significance, not necessarily you, but an average female student in our universities and colleges, what are some of the most, because as a dean of students, I've observed them, and I just want to hear from them. Yes. What would you say from maybe first year, second year, third year, what do most of the female students go through?
Okay. There is a lot of drug and substance abuse that
So
is
the
affecting.
first one is drug and substance abuse among the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number two,
Which
is
substance do they abuse most? Cigarettes or
not cigarettes. They call it weed.
wind?
Yeah.
So girls are taking wind.
Yeah. And
Out
alcohol.
of every 10 girls, if we pick randomly, how many would you say are
Actually, I know a lot of my friends who do take weed.
weed? Let's pick 10 girls on average. Out of 10 girls, randomly, how many are taking weed?
Let's say 7.
7. That's 70%. Okay, that's number one. Number two,
Number 2 is peer pressure.
peer pressure.
Yeah.
Negative or positive?
In both, but
Both.
negative
Negative
mostly
peer pressure.
due to financial constraints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3,
Number
and
3.
you can,
Oh, the financial too.
they go through
Should
financial
should be aside. It should be on its own.
on its own.
Yeah.
Would you say number 1 or number 2?
That should be number 2, then peer pressure number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, we want to identify about 5 so that you get the correct picture. So drug abuse, financial constraints, number 3. Peer pressure, number 4.
We can talk about
Relationships.
relationships.
Toxic relationship.
Okay, I like it. Toxic relationship.
Relationships, yeah.
When you talk about toxic relationships, what do you mean? There are some viewers who don't understand the concept of toxic. That's a vocabulary found in the universities.
It's some form of manipulating someone's brain, or rather mind. Yeah.
Or let's say
Abusive.
an abusive relationship where someone is a victim. Who is normally a victim? The boy or the girl?
In this, okay, anyone can be a victim
Yeah.
in a toxic relationship. A boy can be a victim, and a girl can be a victim.
So how do people get abused in a relationship? Let's unravel some of the abuses in a toxic relationship. So that the viewers and the hearers and the listeners can understand what you mean by this. What's happening in the universities?
So a general one, the one that we all know, is physical abuse. Yeah, physical abuse, because this one mostly comes to the ladies because we know that men are usually appear to be stronger than female. yeah, than the ladies. So yeah, that is one
So you're telling
physical
us
abuse.
in those toxic relationships, girls get beaten up by boys,
Yes.
and it is that serious.
Yes.
Okay. What are some of the other abuses apart from being beaten up?
The abuse I've told you, the body shaming.
Mm.
Even in relationship, you can get yeah, those abuse, like your body is not right. Yeah.
Are they sexually abused or exploited?
I've not encountered such
Mm.
the sexual abuse, but yeah, I have seen one. Those yeah, you can be sexually harassed actually.
By your boyfriend?
Not
By other strangers?
yeah, by other strangers, but also your boyfriend too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have talked about substance abuse.
Maybe
yeah.
if we can add one, there is when you say sexual abuse, I can put it in this way. There is insecurity that comes with sexual abuse. Like, let's say you're walking, you maybe, actually, I think this trended. There is a lady, may her soul rest in peace. She was a first year in my school, and we had done our exams, and people were going home. So she called home and told the parents that she will be staying over for the weekend, and then she's going to travel back on Monday. So, unfortunately for her, she went to the club with her boyfriend, and then around midnight, close to 1, 2, it was reported that her body was found in a nearby bush, sexually abused, and then killed.
Wow. I like the way you have brought out that, because we have been watching news of female students who are murdered. They are found dead. And this has been happening. What is happening with the girl child in the universities? Who is killing them, and why are they being killed?
That's a very controversial discussion, and it's high time people really, really talk about it. And we've also seen that there is femicide in the country.
Yeah.
So I won't pinpoint the main reason why, but it's a whole lot of reasons.
Or don't
Yeah.
you think maybe, talking about some of the abuses in a relationship, financial exploitation maybe, ladies exploiting men financially, or even the reverse, so that there are some of the
Yeah.
factors, leading to some of these things. Don't you think so? Maybe.
There is this phenomenon of wababas, mbaba. Please unlove for that. What is happening? What is that phenomenon
How
on
true?
campus? Mbaba. And how common is it?
There is this example that campus students normally use NGL links. Is it called Not Gonna Lie? Not Gonna Lie links, that you send a message anonymously. And then now there people confess about wababas or what happened, things like that. And to be really honest, it's true.
What is true? What is
The
about?
wababas thing.
Who are wababas?
Wababas
Tell some of
are
the viewers who are
older
wondering,
men.
what's that vocabulary?
I don't know if this is the true definition of wababas, but to my understanding, it's older men who want to be in a relationship with campus or small girls. And the reason as to why this happens is because the young girls in campus mostly do not have money. And for them to now have money and be like the other girls who are on social media, enjoying life, going on vacations, so they decide to look for wababas or either way, and then now they can now enjoy that life that they want, because wababas are people who have money and big cars.
In short, someone who can sponsor your lifestyle.
Oh, yeah,
A
sponsors.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Let me ask you,
I think,
Vanessa.
Daktari, I think our time, we need just to take a very quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be, unraveling more of the what they're saying tonight on the Overflow show. If you're joining us, feel free to share with us. If you've got any question, any feedback, on the number scrolling down at the screen. At the other side of this break, we'll be talking more about, the image of these female students in the university. Stay with us.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find the balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out their latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Rafiki soul is the promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful, ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful, ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful, ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful, ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki msoul.
Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
Thank you so much for staying with us tonight on the Overflow show. Karibu sana. Thank you so much for the feedback that is coming in. Continue sending your feedback, your questions on the number scrolling down at the screen. And of course, we are having an amazing conversation tonight on, self-image, self-esteem of university female students. And tonight, we continue with our conversation because we've been having this conversation and you are opening up about, some of the things that happen at the university. You are talking about, the young ladies getting involved in romantic relationships with the wazes, the wababas. So would you want maybe Vanessa to tell us, in your opinion, from your observation at school, what are some of the reasons that get these ladies maybe to engage in such relationships with some old men?
So I think it's generally peer pressure, but let's break it down to self-image and self-esteem. Some people feel like they don't fit into the society or into friend groups because of their self-image, how they appear, and they compare their appearance to others.
Yes.
And in these terms of appearance, when we bring the wababa or something or the sponsors, it's usually like physical appearance or your financial statements or your financial appearance, because you can see it from how you dress, how you where you go, what you do. From your pictures or your videos, you can see that. Yeah.
So they want to post pictures maybe in fancy places.
Yeah. So they will literally compare themselves because that is what they want to be, because they're not self-confident,
Yes.
and they don't have that self-esteem in themselves. In that they have to do things as such so that they can fit in with the rest.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, Nancy, it's important to bring you in because you've interacted with many of them as well in the university and, in schools.
Yes.
Maybe what are some of the reasons that get our children to have very low self-esteem, low self-image?
Low self-esteem comes in different capacities,
Yes.
especially for ladies.
Okay.
It could be from our backgrounds. Probably you went through abuse from your parents, or you come from a single home family.
Single parent,
Yeah, whereby you've not had any affirmation. So nobody has told you that you are beautiful. You get to the university, and that is where you are getting your first experience where somebody tells you you're beautiful. However, your self-image can be affected because there are parents who actually abuse their children, telling them things like you can never amount to anything.
Okay.
So from that perspective, just hearing my dad calling me out or calling me out names will make my self-esteem go down.
So you want to seek validation out
Yeah,
there?
so I want to seek validation so that I can feel. And that's why you find what Vanessa and Fanaka was saying, that they get even into intimate relationship where they are in campuses, and even abusive relationships where your boyfriend may be violent against you, but you are sticking on to that relationship because he's able to affirm you. He's able to hit you, and after he has hit you, he still affirms you. So it is important for us as parents to ensure that we affirm our daughters.
Okay.
It is important that the people around us just bring that confidence in our children. For me, my dad gave me a lot of confidence about myself. I went to the university when I was quite tiny. I think I was like 36 kgs.
Okay.
I'm in my mid-40s,
Yes.
and I'm currently at 48 kgs. But as a tiny girl, I had such a big confidence because my dad called me beautiful.
Yes.
I never went to a beauty contest, but my self-image was quite firm.
All right.
Another reason that would make the self-esteem of the young girls be affected could be even lack of finances. You're comparing yourself.
Yes.
I'm seeing everybody is eating pizza, and what my parent has given me is probably 200 shillings. So for that, I can tell the young girls in the university to have self-confidence in themselves. You know, we don't decide where we are born.
Yeah.
But we can decide our future.
Okay.
So many times we succumb to peer pressure, and because of that peer pressure, now we get involved in the wababas, where we risk our lives, because ultimately when we engage in those things that are destructive, it usually ends up affecting our self-esteem.
Okay.
And that's why you find a girl in the university having a relationship or is married in the university, but they feel they've lost their self-worth because of what they are doing behind the scenes, especially we as believers. When we go through the Bible, we can see Sarah. Sarah was a beautiful lady.
Yes.
Which actually the Bible calls her out as a beautiful lady. But her husband abused her by giving her to another man so that he can benefit. So as women, despite the fact that we are beautiful and maybe people will be admiring us, we may get in destructive behaviors, which at the end of the day does not glorify God.
All right.
And at the end of the day, still, it affects our self-esteem, and we don't get to the levels of where the Lord desires us to be. So we don't walk securely.
All right. Thank you so much. And I really want to know, Fanaka, because I know some of the things mentioned here causing most of these things are maybe financial, challenges, and then talking about matters affirmation from, parents. So in your capacity as a student, a university student, what do you do to cope with maybe sometimes lack? Because I know kuna wale wanasema tunainama, lunch ipite, breakfast ipite, So how do you cope with maybe lack sometimes? Because I know it is normal to lack sometimes. How do you cope with that?
I cope with lack. Number one, you just have a little faith and be open minded about everything.
Okay.
Because you won't force your parent to provide for you if they are not in that position to provide for you. And another thing is just mindset.
Yes.
And develop positive relationship even with your friends. Because when you lack, they are the same people who you are going to run to
Yes.
help you. And if you live a life whereby you hate your peers, you don't talk to them, you withdraw yourself from them, you isolate yourself, you live in loneliness,
Yes.
it's not going to help you. Instead, you're just going to drag yourself, your self-esteem down. Yeah.
All right. And Vanessa, so that you don't get into these destructive ways of, having to cope up with some of the shortcomings in life that really work against your self-image, what is it that you do as, as Vanessa, just to, cope with some of these things like lack, coping with, affirmation? Have you ever gone maybe outside to seek affirmation from people, validation and all that?
Validation is one of something major, mostly in ladies.
Okay.
So I've once wanted to seek validation because I once told you I had a problem. Not even a problem.
Yes.
I was abused because of my skin tone. Yeah, so I wanted to seek validation from someone who loved my skin tone.
Yes.
But at the same time, I felt like it is my self-image. So if I want to seek validation, then it means that I'm not confident and that I don't have high self-esteem about myself.
Yes.
So I just grew. I just grew in the thought of, why shouldn't I start loving myself first? Love yourself first. Put yourself first,
Yes.
and in that way, you will learn to know that you do not need to seek validation from someone that you this and this and that, because I'm in a Jaminia.
Yes.
Like you can't tell me. You can't tell me anything.
Right.
Hey.
Wow, I love the confidence. Now, let's talk about now, how do you deal with maybe a lack sometimes? I know there are financial struggles, maybe university students go through sometimes. Now, how do you deal with it?
Okay, as she said, having a good rapport with friends. Yeah, sometimes if you might lack and home is not enough, so you having a good rapport with friends. They also don't have that much, but the little they have, you guys can share.
Okay.
Because having a friendship, okay, every relationship in this life should be beneficial.
Yes.
And that is one thing I've told myself. I can't be in any relationship that is not beneficial to me or to them. So having a friend who will be with you, you can share at that time, because I am lacking this.
Yes.
Can you help me with this? Because sio kila siku ni Christmas. Yeah.
All right.
So she might have or he might have, and then that is how you guys help each other, especially in campus. Ni kusaidiana, like
Yes.
that's how you guys have to cope up. Yeah.
Have you ever maybe had to skip some meals here and there just to take care, so that to make sure you don't have to go really outside your way to destroy your image, or maybe your dignity, to compromise your dignity just in, looking for money? Have you ever had to skip some meals?
Hey, nishai nama.
Okay.
Yeah, like sometimes you in campus it's simple, like it's not that hard for you to do such, because circumstances, and also sometimes unaweza inama because of you have that afternoon class.
Yes.
That you will want to appear there early so that you don't go for lunch.
Okay.
And stay in that class until around 4.
Or you sleep up to 1?
Or I don't wake up for breakfast. See,
Alright.
I'll just sleep until 12. Then I wake up and prepare myself and just have lunch.
Yes.
Yes, breakfast tulisahau hivyo.
Right. Okay. Fanaka, you told me that bei ya Piriton is a few coins as compared to...
Actually, I saw that in a certain meme.
Okay.
That why would you buy supper or lunch or breakfast for 100 shillings?
Yes.
Whereas Piriton is only 5 shillings. So why don't you buy it and just sleep the whole day and inama,
Okay.
and then save that money
Yes.
for another meal?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Daktari, I think I want to loop you into this conversation on the issue of maybe what are some of these consequences when these university students, female students, have to go outside the way, compromise their dignity, these destructive ways now. What are the consequences?
Yeah, I like the conversation, and we are touching on very deep things here. But I'm also asking myself, what would make someone compromise to get even food or an extra coin?
Yes.
And I like what Nancy has said. I think as a society, we may have modeled the wrong values, such that we glorify money or
Yes.
riches at the expense of integrity. And values are normally caught as opposed to being taught.
Yes.
What have we modeled as leaders, as teachers, as parents to these young people, such that they can compromise their integrity, they can compromise their values for this money? Because we are normally devoted to the things that we value.
Yes.
If we can model the right values to these people and not glorify money at the expense of integrity, I would believe they'll catch up the right values.
Yes.
But and there are remnants. There are people who have caught up the right values. Many times, as parents, we invest in their education and forget to invest values in them. And investing values in them will call us to work with them.
Okay.
Don't just pay their school fees. Literally work with this lady. Validation is very, very important. You could be paying school fees, but if you validated this girl, it will make a very big difference. But that you call for them to be present, to know what is happening, to hang out with them, so that you can actually teach them the right values.
Okay.
So that those values will become the anchor to hold them, even when they feel like they want to compromise. But what are some of the consequences?
Yes.
They come up with what we had talked before, coping mechanism. They are so frustrated.
Yes.
Some things don't make sense. They get into drugs. They get into illicit relationships, be it with their peers or be it with other people. And of course, there are all the consequences. They engage in what I would call destructive coping mechanism,
Yes.
destructive activities that work against them. But they need to really be taught values.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there is a point of, there are some students who say that our parents don't really care. They don't know what we are going through in school. Just because they've paid school fees, they feel it is enough. Vanessa, what would you say about this? Because I know many students are out here, they are listening, and I know parents are as well listening. What would you comment on this?
I think parents should look for a way whereby they are able to know what exactly is my child, my daughter, going through
Yes.
in school. Aside from me doing my duties like paying the school fees, what do they go through? So I think parents should know what their children are going through in school,
Yes.
in terms of knowing what they need, for them to be in a position whereby they can say that they're comfortable in their lives, or they're very comfortable, they're very confident about their parents and themselves in their lives.
Yes.
Parents need to put an upper hand in what the children are doing in school, because my parents right now, or let me say, for example, our parents can be at their home
Yes.
at this time, but you don't know if your daughter right now is seeking something outside there.
Yes.
Let me get straightforward to, like, she's seeking money, because staying in campus is different, like, from staying at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So parents should mostly check on their daughters, emotionally, financially, physically, know how they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Fanaka, what's your input on that? Because I know there is a place of parents to make sure that the well-being of children in school and making sure that their image is protected, self-image.
A lot of parents and guardians normally think that when they have already paid, maybe let's say rent and school fees,
Yes.
that's enough. But to be really, really honest, in all honesty, it's not.
Wanauliza
Because
mnafanya nini pesa?
exactly, because there is your projects, you have to print assignments, there is data, you have to attend those online classes. Where are you going to get that money if you cannot even afford Wi-Fi? So this is a call to action to all parents to really take up space to just engage and talk to their young girls and young boys out there in campus, because it goes a long way.
Wanasema mnakula shule. So wakishalipa school fee, what else do you need?
Tunakula nini?
Hakuna chakula?
You have to buy.
All right.
Yeah, you have to buy food.
But
I
maybe
mean,
a meal, how much is a meal, for example? Just a basic meal.
nowadays a basic meal in university, like when you buy food like from outside school, and of an on-campus student buying food outside, nowadays it's 100 bob and above, because you can't at this squeezy fries is 120 nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah, so even the 100 bob is not enough. And it's not every day that the daughter or the student or the son will want to take the meal at the mess or the university meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Frank, I can ask, we have some genuine cases. What about if the parent cannot afford? Yeah, after paying the school fees, paying for your rent, sincerely, the parent can't afford.
Now that is where we come up to the topic whereby some people have to seek for financial help from other people or other sources.
Aren't there constructive ways, economic activities a student can engage in to look
Can
for
you
that
work
extra
on
income?
TikTok? I mean, there's content creation.
Student
Online
enterprise.
jobs.
It's not easy to earn from TikTok.
Okay, not necessarily TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
the
have
online jobs.
student enterprise. You can learn like a small business. You can do hawking. I mean, there's a variety of ways that are constructive, that are legal, that you can engage in.
You know, you have to have money to get money. So how are we going to start that business if I don't have the capital to start the business? You know, how no matter how small it is, if I want the capital to start that business, I'll definitely talk to my parents or someone who I feel like my mentor or someone else. But the first person I'll go to is my parents, and I'll ask my parents for the money, and they will tell me I'm not able to provide such right now. But there are other measures of which a person can venture into, and the key word here is consistency. When you get into something that is going to help you financially when you're in campus, if you're consistent, everything will go well. Just be consistent.
And not just consistent, but engage in legal,
Constructive.
constructive activities.
Activities.
You don't have to engage in illegal business or illicit business. For example, there are students who do plating of hair.
Yes.
Their fellow
need
colleagues.
capital.
You need capital for that. There are people who do loud dry. They wash other people's clothes. I mean, there are many activities you can do, economic activities you can do, that may not even require initial capital. They only require humility, hard work, and your availability to do it when you don't have classes.
Yes.
And generally, unlike in high school, classes in campuses are not 8 to 5. You have a lot of free time. Why don't you do student enterprise to earn an extra income?
I think we need because I can see our time is pretty much well spent. I would want Daktari and Nancy to talk about. I'd want you to talk about the support system from parents. How can parents come in to support our children in school? And Daktari, you can talk about the place of now our institutions. How can a university, come in, as a support system to our children when it comes to self-image and all that? So let's start over with you, Nancy. How can parents come in? How can families, guardians come in?
I think the first thing that parents should do, and guardians and even siblings, is to get involved in the lives of your children.
Okay.
Many parents are not aware of what goes on in the university. Actually, they think in the university people go to class from 8 to 5, then they go to sleep. And as Daktari has said, they usually have even a lot of time. So it is important for us as parents to be very involved in the lives of our children. We need to communicate to them, we call them, and we also need to support them financially, because many times we may be complaining that we do not have money. And at the same time, probably we are saying, let this child learn, I want them to learn how to survive. So in the process of telling this child, at the back of your mind, you are saying you want them to learn, but have you mentored that child? Which are these godly ways that they can use even to just develop themselves? And when we go through the Bible, we see Queen Esther, who was mentored by the uncle every step of the way.
Yes.
His uncle would even give him advice on when and what to do. And he would always remind her that she is from a godly family.
Yes.
So it is very important for us as parents. Apart from just praying, we need to be action-oriented in the lives of our children.
Okay.
You know, this generation is not the same as our generation. This one need more, they need you to be there. They need your presence. You know, like for us, I'm sure, Frank,
Yes.
if your parents were not home, those were your best days. But in this generation, they want their
Present.
they want
Attention.
attention. They want their parents to know what they are doing in school, their struggles, and it calls for us as parents to just get out of our comfort zone. I've realized that most parents, like our daughter is in a school, and most parents do not even want a visiting in a whole term. Wanasema, let those children stay there
Yes.
and na wasome. They don't want to interact with their children. But it is a wake-up call for us parents, because as much as we are using resources from our pockets just to pay their education, we may end up losing these children to those destructive behaviors. They've been body shamed. So most of them are not eating, wanapata anorexia, and eventually some even die. Some have been involved to the wababas. They contract deadly diseases like HIV and AIDS, which is rampant and is growing in our country, as our statistics have shown. So it is important for us parents to be very, very, very present, that our children will get the best, and also that their self-esteem is firmly established, especially for the girls. Tell your girl she's beautiful.
Okay. All right. Sorry, maybe what are some of the support systems institutions need to avail?
Yeah, and already some of them are in place. I'm not sure whether all the students know. For example, many universities have a work-study program.
Okay.
Where you work in the university, and that goes to your school fees. Maybe you can work in the mess, in the library. There are those opportunities.
Okay.
And we also have bursaries. I mean, there are so many opportunities. I've come to realize if you are really determined and you work hard.
Yes.
But I would also recommend for the universities to mainstream life skill courses.
Yes.
In the curriculum.
Okay.
Many people suffer because of ignorance. Just as the Bible put it, my people suffer because of lack of knowledge.
Yes.
People perish because of ignorance.
Yeah.
Can we mainstream life skills in our courses, in our curriculum? Can we have core courses that are done across the board, irrespective of the discipline, that teaches you how to cope with life, that teaches you how to be enterprising in whichever discipline that you do, that teaches you how to relate with the opposite gender, because those life skills will help them even perform better in these other disciplines.
All right.
I have realized at times you can teach economics or business, and you don't need to teach them how to start a business.
Yes.
I think we need to even remodel restructure our curriculum so that we teach them how you can make any gift or any discipline, you can commercialize it. So that if I'm doing journalism, and in this era when there's not much work opportunities, can I be taught on how I can commercialize that discipline that I'm pursuing? So there are certain courses that are critical for young people to be able to navigate through life. And we need to mainstream those courses across the board in the curriculum.
Okay. Now, we have children who go through trauma, maybe body shaming. They need some counseling services. I don't know if those services are provided in school.
That's the thing that many universities, almost all I would imagine, they have a department of counseling.
Yes.
And young people need to seek these services and just confess and just accept that they have a problem and go for counseling. Counseling is very, very, very important. But I want to say this as I summarize.
Yes.
That after all is said and done, unless you hide yourself in Christ, any other ground is sinking sand. That, by the way, there is good news.
Yes.
There are people who come out successfully. But if you check critically, what is their secret? They have hidden themselves in Christ from day one. Because life is not a straight line. Life has its own storms. And the only sure ground we have is if you hide yourself in Christ.
All right. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for those remarks. And I would want, because our time is pretty much well spent, we want to come to the end of the program tonight. I really want, Fanaka, your final remarks. Maybe talk to your, there's a girl child in school right now. Those in universities, colleges, even, high schools and all that. Talk to that girl out there.
I understand that you might have been caught up in situations that you do not like and you are not even proud of yourself. When you look back and you look at your life where you've come from, because a lot of campus girls, we come from very humble backgrounds, but now when we come to campus, we mess our lives. And I want to tell you that no matter what has happened, no matter what mistakes you have done, it is not the end of life. Take that mistake as an opportunity to learn and to grow. Yeah.
All right. Out of you, Vanessa, maybe your parting shot.
I will just tell that campus girl, that lady, beautiful lady, you're beautiful in your own way, and no one should let you down. No one should be able to have an opinion about your self image, because that is how you're created and that is what you're supposed to be proud about. And be confident, do you, and through God, through Christ, above all, you're going to do better, you're going to do great. Don't have regrets. Regrets are it's okay to regret, but learn from your regrets and keep pushing.
All right. Great. Or to you, Nancy, maybe in less than a minute, your parting shot. Look at this camera.
I can encourage girls out there that you are actually fearfully and wonderfully made, that God has a great purpose for you, just the way He created you. And you need to get to a place where you have self-identity, the identity that is found in the Lord Jesus Christ, that you should not wait for affirmation from the right or to the left, but just look at our Lord Jesus Christ, who is the author and the finisher of our faith. Be blessed.
All right. Dr. It's been real. We're coming to the end of the program. Maybe your parting shot tonight.
My parting shot to this young lady on campus,
Yes.
and I agree with them. Many things could have happened, and thank God, because God is a graceful God, and God is a God of many chances. That God will still embrace you and make your mess to become a message. At the end of the day, it is not what the other people are talking about you, how you look like, whether you are beautiful. It's not really what you think about how you look like. What does the one who created you say you are and you can do? So at the end of the day, you are what God says you are. You have what God says you have, and you can do all that God says you have.
Wow.
Look up to God for validation. Just the way God said, the Bible says, a voice came from above and said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I'm delighted." Seek that validation from your spiritual father. Your parents may fail you, your friends may fail you, but your maker, your spiritual father, will never fail you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, amazing people, amazing panel tonight for that amazing conversation. Thank you so much for creating time. And for our viewer and listener, thank you so much for creating time as well. Just wish you a restful weekend and, of course, a great night. See you next Saturday, same time, same place. Until then, bye-bye.